Hey everyone. I was just solving some chess puzzles on chess.com and I came across this really beautiful one that I just had to share. So, here I'll give everyone a few seconds if you want to pause the video and try and attempt this. It is white to move, and after a few seconds, if you haven't figured it out or if you just want to skip to the solution, then we'll get right to the solution then. Okay, so if you've tried this puzzle and got it, congratulations. It's a very long, tricky puzzle, but it's got a really nice pattern to it. And so here we have to think, well, obviously, the big problem is black is up material. Black is up by 3 points. We can see both sides have the same colored bishop, both in the dark squares, and both sides also have a queen. And so we must wonder, well, okay, the difference is, of course, black's 3 pawns, but their king is very vulnerable. At least white's king is sort of shielded by this pawn, almost like a traitor pawn that the enemy has here. It's kind of helping white's king be safe for the time being. But white has to be very active here, because, of course, if they do nothing, we have this very nasty pin. And if we waste a move to try and get out of this pin, then we're playing on the defensive, and with this king so open, we're definitely going to want to attack their king first. So, the very natural move to start this is, of course, queen to f6 check. But with queen f6 check, we have to be very careful of, what's our purpose here? And we can't be a little, cautious, I guess, for lack of a better term, because if we just play checks meaninglessly, the black king is just going to escape. So, we start with this move. King comes over, and we would love to get our bishop into play, but the problem is this is on a light square, and this is on a dark square, and we really don't seem to have a way forward. So that's where this check comes into play. And it seems like we're doing nothing, but this is not perpetual. What we're doing is we're simply blocking the king, because this king is still blocked by this square, and now we're pushing the king back. And it looks very similar to the starting position we were at. But now here it is white to move, and the king is on a dark square, and the difference that makes is now we have bishop e3 with check. And so the whole point of this is now we're forcing the king slowly this way, with the hopes that the king isn't going to escape. If we had started with the other direction, maybe the king could have started escaping this way, and once the king escapes, maybe they can find shelter somewhere. So here the only move left is king to g7. We now play queen g5 check, again using the dark squares, trying to take advantage of black's exposed king. King is forced to go to f8. The problem with going here, of course, is if it goes to f8, we have this check with the bishop, and this is just going to be a mating net. The only thing you can do is block with their bishop. We could take it, and then it's just going to give up material for no reason. They still haven't solved the checkmate problem if their king is in the corner. So really the only try is king to f8, try and prolong this. But now we play bishop to c5 check. And again, we're still playing on the dark squares here. So black cannot escape this way because king e8 runs into this mate in 1. And so, of course, what else do they have? The king cannot go here because the queen is controlling those squares from g5. So the only move that they have, which starts this really nice tactical sequence here, is they have to block with the bishop. And it looks natural. But now here comes a very cool sequence that really impressed me. So it starts with here, queen to e5. And this is such a cool quiet move because it looks like you're walking right into, where you can be captured with check. Now, of course, on closer inspection, you will see this move is not legal because this bishop is pinned. And so our queen is actually immune here. So, of course, that's a really interesting point to notice. But you'll also notice that on a closer look, there's actually a really big threat here. White is threatening to not only win this bishop, but also win with a very powerful fork, winning the queen, with the king and queen fork. And so black must definitely react to this. And as we've seen, they can't take our queen, and they can't take our bishop because then we'll just win their queen with check. And so what else does black really have? Well, unfortunately for black, there isn't really much better than to just accept they're going to lose the bishop and safeguard their king. And their king cannot go here because our queen still defends everything on the e-file. And they also cannot go to g7 because our queen also defends that square. And so there really is only one forced move that they have, and that is king to g8. And now we play, of course, we take the bishop, attacking their queen, but we're also threatening a lot of things on the g-file, specifically queen g5 check. And we're going to try and force the king into the corner, the same problem that they had before. So the best defense here that black can probably try is queen to d8, trying to control this queen coming to g5 so we cannot play this. However, we'll just play the same thing, coming back a little. We'll just play queen g3 check. And now again, this square is also controlled, so the king cannot go to f8, so they are now finally forced into the corner. Once they go king to h8, we now have bishop e5 check, looks very natural, very similar to before. they play f6 to block, but now we play the exact same pattern that we had earlier. Now we have queen to g5, and it's the exact same tactical idea we've seen, except now instead of a bishop, it is this pawn. So this pawn cannot take our queen because we've got this pin, and of course they cannot put their king in check. And so really the best that they really have, practically speaking, is just take the bishop and lose the queen. And there's no other way that they can stop checkmate. If we go back here, in this position, you could actually prolong checkmate by trying to go this way, but this comes with check. And the problem is, they can't move their king because this is still controlled by the queen, everything on the g file. And so for that being, what it's going to mean is they're just going to lose their queen with check because of this little fork that they've got. So really, they had no better than to take the bishop and hope for the best. And of course, that's completely losing, as white now finally wins the black queen and has a completely winning position. They can gobble up the pawns, easily give a queen and king checkmate. So all of that from this position way back here, really amazing to me that not only was it once or twice, but really just this whole thematic idea where you have that really cool pin coming from all these different directions. Just really impressed me when I saw it. I hope everyone else found it just as exciting as I did. Very cool puzzle idea. And hope everyone enjoyed this. I will see you in the next chess video.